Cross the Line is brought to you by Neilsons, where trend meets tradition.
Welcome to the Cross the Line podcast. I'm Ross.
And I'm Henry.
And today we're going to be looking at the SEC preview win totals.
First up, we'll be looking at Georgia. Georgia is listed at 10.5 over-under wins.
10.5. I see them winning 11.
I mean,
I like 11.
With Georgia, I might see them slipping up like one time, but slipping up twice.
At Kentucky, to me, they're at the end of the year. That's a little tough.
Well, let's preview their schedule. They start off neutral site game versus Oregon. We're both giving them that one. I think we'll both give them Samford.
I give them Samford. I think they win in Columbia against South Carolina.
Then they have, they're non-conference. I see them going undefeated, not even close.
Yeah, Kent State.
Now, their West teams that they have at Mississippi State and Auburn at home. At Mississippi State, I think, comes at an interesting point in the schedule where you sort of have a Tennessee team that seems to be on the rise, a Kentucky team that's been solid, and that Mississippi State game sandwiched right in between.
I'm telling you, that Florida, Tennessee, State, Kentucky, that's a tough stretch. That's a tough stretch.
But, I think Georgia just is a monster right now. I don't see them losing at all this year.
You can never count Florida out of a Florida-Georgia game, though.
I think this year's Florida team with Billy Napier, but we'll get to Florida later. But I'm saying over.
I'm going to go over, too. I think they win 11 games and win the East. Our
next team will be the Florida Gators. And Florida, right now, they're at a 7-win total, which I think, historically it's low for Florida, historically.
For sure. New head coach.
Napier from Louisiana Lafayette.
New quarterback-ish, I guess you could say, with Emory Jones leaving. Anthony Richardson, I would imagine, would be the starter.
I think he will be, but I think they have a hard schedule, too. They start off Utah at home, Kentucky at home.
Which is a crazy game, by the way. Weird game.
Yeah, that is sort of a weird game.
Weird matchup.
I like Utah in that one.
I think I like Utah on the road, too.
Utah, coaches poll came out the other day. Utah's 8.
That doesn't
I don't know if
shock
Utah's
me.
ever been that high.
That doesn't shock me. I think Utah wins the Pac-12. That doesn't matter, but
I think Lincoln Riley, USC, has something to say about that. But as you can see, the West draw for this Florida team is not easy. At Texas A&M, and then, as always, they have LSU, which is always sort of a difficult team to play.
So we'll go through the schedule. I give them week 1, I'm giving to Utah, so that they're going to start 0-1. And then Kentucky at home, I don't like their chances there. I think they start 0-2. Then you got South Florida at home. Give me that one. At Tennessee, I don't think they can win that. That's 1-3 right there. Then you got Eastern Washington, which is a joke of a game. Then 2-3 at worst for Florida.
Well, winning on the road in the SEC is a hard thing to do. And you have at Tennessee, at Texas A&M, at Vanderbilt, and
brutal. Brutal.
Only 3 road games. That Georgia helps them out in that sort of sense, but 2 of those, I'll give them at Vanderbilt. I think we can both say they'll win that one, but I'm not seeing 7. I'm seeing losses to Kentucky, losses to Tennessee. I think they'll lose to LSU. Georgia, I'll give Georgia that one. I'm going to give A&M that one. I'm going to give South Carolina that one, and I might give Florida State that one.
I think I'm not mad about that. I'm going under.
I'm going under for sure.
I think they can go 6-6 and make a bowl game, though. I don't think that's out of reach at all.
I think 6-6 might be a ceiling for this Florida team. I know it's sort of crazy to say, but I don't think they're that good this year. And I think Napier, he's going to have some growing pains.
For sure. He walked into a difficult situation.
Our next team is Kentucky, and Kentucky win total of 8. Do you think over or under?
As much as I want to say over, it's Kentucky. It's just hard to bet.
Stoops is a good coach.
He's got it rolling, but it's just hard to say that they're going to win more than 8 games.
Their non-con's easy.
Their non-con is easy, but SEC, let's see, they got to go to Ole Miss, to Florida. I gave him the Florida game.
To Tennessee.
To Tennessee, which is really tough.
And to Missouri.
Georgia at home is not easy either.
Georgia in general is not easy. I mean,
And then
they get the Mississippi schools. That's their draw.
They do get the Mississippi schools. 2 tough games. They play State every year, though. That's there.
I mean, I see them going 4-0 in non-conference. Their hardest team being Louisville by far. But, I mean, I don't count 8. I don't see 8 wins. I'm going to go under. I know it sounds a little mean. I'm going to go under.
I think they hit it perfect. I think they win 8.
You think they push it?
I think they lose. Give me a loss to Ole Miss. Give me a loss to South Carolina. I think they lose to South Carolina. So they lose 2 in a row. And then I think they lose there to Georgia. And Tennessee.
I see 5. I mean, I see at Ole Miss. I see South Carolina as a loss. I see Mississippi State as a loss. I see at Tennessee, and I see Georgia.
I'm giving them Louisville.
I'll give them Louisville. Louisville has, I think Malik Cunningham's a great quarterback, but I think that's an under.
He's got a one-man show over there.
Yeah, I don't know how the wide receivers are, and that defense last year, if it was any indication, it's not going to be great.
One-man show over there at Louisville.
So our next team is South Carolina. South Carolina, lowest, besides Vanderbilt and Missouri, lowest win total of the sort of good SEC teams from last year, SEC East teams, at 6.
Wow. So they see him going the same as last year? 6-6?
Over.
I don't know.
I'm going over.
I think I like an over, too. South Carolina's on the come-up slowly. Now, when people say they're a playoff team, that drives me up a wall.
Up a wall?
I mean, you've got the only change in that team is Spencer Rattler, which is a huge upgrade. I mean, they played a graduate assistant.
You could say quarterback was their weakest part of the team.
Oh, no doubt, and that's a game changer when you've got a quarterback like Spencer Rattler's really, really good.
Their West draw is hard.
But
I'm just gonna say that
Spencer
at Arkansas
Rattler's no
and
Cam
at
Newton.
home.
He's no Cam Newton.
I mean,
He's
not
not
even
gonna
close.
go crazy. But let's look at the schedule.
You have at Arkansas and A&M. That's their West draw. Road-wise, they have at Vanderbilt, at Florida, at Clemson, not SEC, but that's still brutal. At Arkansas and at Kentucky. I gave them that Kentucky game.
And Georgia at home.
I think they'll go over. I mean, looking at it on its face, I see, crazy enough, 4 to 5 losses.
They could win 7. I don't see them winning over 7 games, but I think they do win 7 games. They can. I think they can win 7 games.
The losses that I think aren't like guaranteed, but maybe I see at Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, and at Clemson and A&M.
Yeah, I mean
that'd be 7-5. I like them going 7-5. I think an over.
I think A&M's very overrated.
You think so?
But that's later. But
We'll talk. I think A&M's actually underrated. I don't think enough people are talking about A&M, even though they've been the talk of SEC offseason with Jimbo and Nick Saban. I think
which,
they're
by the way,
good.
Alabama is going to roll through that team.
So I say that
be close.
I say they go over 6.
I'll give them over.
And then our next team is Tennessee. Tennessee, NCAA violations aside, they're winning over under 7.5.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Won 7 games last year. Hendon Hooker's back. Some people have him winning the Heisman, which is crazy. I don't know. I want to give him over, but the schedule's tough. At Pitt, week 2. At LSU, never easy to go to Death Valley. Alabama at home, still don't like them in that one.
I mean, they have. I don't know what Greg Sankey has against Tennessee, but this West draw,
brutal.
I mean, there's the month of October and early November is maybe one of the worst I've ever seen.
And they're going to South Carolina, to Georgia, Alabama at home, at LSU, and at Pitt.
You have a streak there where it's at LSU, Alabama, UT Martin. That's not what I'm talking about. But then Kentucky and then at Georgia.
That's tough.
I mean, it's not friendly at all.
At all. I think I'd give him Vandy.
I mean, yeah, I think
we'll give him Vandy. I'll give him Missouri.
I'm gonna go.
I think they have one upset. I mean,
do you see 5 losses? Do you see 5 losses? That's.
I think they.
I see 5 losses.
I see 5. I think they lose to Pitt week 2.
Yeah, I think they lose to Pitt.
They lose to Pitt week 2. I think they
Pat
beat
Narduzzi's
Florida.
a good coach, defensively at least. I mean,
So that 4-game stretch, I have them going 3-1 to Death Valley after a bye week.
what about that 5-game stretch? I haven't gone 1-4.
Oh, that's a brutal. The 5-game stretch being LSU, Alabama, UT Martin,
UT Martin's not the brutal part.
Kentucky, and Georgia. I mean,
Who knows? They've got a
they'd
good
be
team up there in Martin.
very, very lucky to get out of there with 2 wins. Very, very lucky.
Yeah, I don't see it. Kentucky's their best chance. At LSU, we don't know about LSU yet, but come on.
Who knows? But you go to Death Valley. Any day you go to Death Valley, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's insane. So I'm gonna go under. And now we get to sort of
I'll go under, too.
the struggle bus of the SEC East, as one might say. Missouri at 5.5 over/under wins.
Oof. Missouri. I mean, no one's talking about Missouri, and rightfully so.
I mean, they have a non-conference. It's not. It's unusual.
Let's see. We'll go through the schedule. La Tech. Give me a win against
I'll
La
take
Tech.
a win, La Tech.
At Kansas State. Kansas State is good. That's a good team over there.
I mean, it's a Kansas State team that beat LSU in the Texas Bowl. Pretty
They're a
handedly.
good team. They're
handedly.
They're a really good team.
I like Kansas State.
I like Kansas State too. And then Abilene Christian.
You
Why are we
already
scheduling
know.
these teams? Like, why are you scheduling Abilene Christian?
I mean, everyone does it. You can-
Give me somebody at least, give me at least a La Tech. A Southern
They gave
Miss.
you a La
Go to this-
Tech.
I know, I'm just saying. Give me another one.
They gave you a La Tech.
I'm not a big
Alright.
fan of the FCS teams, but maybe that's just me.
And then you have the West draw. I mean, it could be difficult. It could be really easy.
Arkansas.
At Auburn and Arkansas at home.
At Auburn. They could win that. I mean, Auburn's terrible.
I have Auburn.
Auburn's going to be bad.
We'll talk about Auburn later. I have Auburn going lower than low.
Missouri's going to be bad too. But I think they start with. They're going to start 1-3. I think they lose to Auburn. I think they lose to Georgia. I think they lose to
You
Florida.
think they lose to Auburn?
Yes, I do. And Jordan Hare.
Zach Calzada?
Auburn's going to start. They're going to start good. Early. They're going to start good.
Yeah,
They
I
always
mean,
do. They always start solid. And then they get to where they're playing Alabama and Ole Miss and A&M and teams like that, and they kind of struggle. LSU. No.
I'm going under.
I'm going under, too.
And I'm giving them that Auburn game.
I'm giving them wins against Vandy, Abilene Christian, La Tech, what's that, 3? New Mexico State. There's 4.
I'm giving them 5.
That's
I'm giving them La Tech, Abilene Christian, Auburn, Vandy, and New Mexico State.
I don't disagree.
I think it's to be close. I mean, I think they could pull out an at Florida. I think Florida is such a question mark that they could pull that out, but I just don't see it.
For sure.
So I'm going under.
For sure. Yeah, I'll go under, too.
And then we get one of the most important teams these past couple years in the SEC East, Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
I mean,
Man. Hey, they're coming.
I'm
for
not even
championships.
looking at the schedule yet, but it's 2.5 over under win total. I'm going under.
I'm going over.
Over on
I'm
Vanderbilt.
going over. Let's go through the schedule. I think they win at Hawaii week 0.
Hawaii is one of the worst teams.
That's
I
the
think
week 0 game. Of the
Hawaii,
month, by the way.
Hawaii, I think is going to be that 0-12 team, winless.
Very possible. Very possible. I don't even know anything about Hawaii because they're so irrelevant. But I think they win at Hawaii week 0. I think they beat Elon. They're starting 2-0. 2-0.
I have them starting 2-0 too.
And then they go to Wake Forest.
I have them then losing 10 straight.
Oh, wow. They get manhandled by Wake Forest. So then you're 2-1. Give me at NIU. Everyone's calling me crazy for that. I like it. I mean, they won the MAC. Did they win the MAC last year?
I think they did win the
I
match.
think they did win the MAC. That's an upset almost. Give me Vandy in that. Starting 3-1 as they go to Alabama. Alabama, you better be a little nervous.
All right, well, Saban's probably playing this in the locker room right now.
But then after they start 3-1, I got them losing the rest. So
I have them beating Hawaii, beating Elon, losing the
eight
rest.
straight.
That's a good NIU team. I think it's a really good NIU team. I think people, don't look at the MAC at all. But
3-9. 3-9. They won't win an SEC game.
the only game I could possibly see them pulling out SEC-wise is at Missouri.
At Missouri, that I don't hate that. That's not crazy.
But besides that,
I like Missouri.
I
but
think it's
not
over.
crazy.
I think it's over.
I give them over too.
No, wait.
You said under.
No, I think it's over as in their season's basically over.
Okay. I'm giving them over 2.5. I think they win 3. 3-9.
And, I feel sort of bad for Clark Lee. He did say, we'll make like a championship contender at Vanderbilt. There's no way.
Yeah, no way.
Not with this schedule. I mean, we might as well go over their West draw. It's Ole Miss, and then you have at Alabama. I mean, that's
Alabama
pretty brutal.
Will be great.
That's
both
brutal.
of those, neither of those they'll win.
Their road SEC draw's brutal. I mean, at Alabama, at Georgia. Vanderbilt just has a tough schedule. I mean, that's just not fair.
What's so sad about Vanderbilt now is Vandy doesn't even have home games anymore. And they play Georgia, and Georgia's going to fill the stadium 80%.
Well, I hope they would. It's at Sanford Stadium.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
When they play Ole Miss is going to go in there and bring 70% of the fans.
Yeah,
I mean, that Vandy UConn game last year, the tickets were going for less than $1.
Vanderbilt's always playing those weird teams at Colorado State last year.
At NIU, to me, is crazy. At Hawaii. Like,
both those in the same year.
Who schedules those?
Props
to Vandy, though. I like it. It's cool. It's something different.
I mean, yeah, I guess they do get rewarded with Florida and Tennessee rounding out at home end of the year.
Yeah.
That's going to be a home game for Tennessee. Florida might be so bad that Vanderbilt actually might outnumber.
That could be if they could win that.
No,
it's not crazy to say. I like Ken Seals at quarterback for Vanderbilt. I like him.
I mean, I like him.
Who knows if he'll even be
I like
a starter.
him if he's playing Hawaii, who has a first-year coach and tons of off-season drama, and Elon, who is Elon.
They're going to be better than people say. They could win 4. I could see them winning 4. 3-9, 4-8 at best.
And then next we'll transition over to the West. Now we go on to the reigning SEC champion, Alabama. And Alabama's at 10.5 over-under wins.
That's actually surprising to me that they're not at 11.
I mean, 11.5 is where I would have put them.
I don't think they lose a game. I think they're going to go undefeated.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with these over-unders with Georgia and Alabama. They could lose one game and still be hitting the over. And, I could see them losing one game.
The fact that at Texas schedule is still very possible for them to go 12-0 is absurd. I mean, they're going to Arkansas, to Texas, to Tennessee, to Ole Miss, to LSU, and still they're not going to lose.
And they have, the easiest East draw probably? Vanderbilt and at Tennessee?
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt at home? Oof.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vandy.
And we already talked about that. I mean, I don't see any losses on here. If there is a loss, call me crazy. If there is a loss, it's either Auburn or at Tennessee.
Wow. Okay. See, I was going to say if there is a loss, it's Ole Miss or LSU. Auburn's not going to win in Bryant.
That's the roughest 2-game stretch they have.
That stretch, when they go at Arkansas, A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State.
Bye week.
Then they get a bye week. But then they go at LSU, at Ole Miss, Austin Peay, and Auburn. Auburn's going to give them a fight because it's Auburn.
I just think
But
Harsin.
at LSU and at Ole Miss back-to-back is tough.
Harsin could go 2-10 Alabama and beat whoever they play.
I mean, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, and get an extension. I mean, yeah.
But I don't like Alabama losing at home against Auburn. That doesn't happen.
I mean, I think it's over no matter what. It's over.
Oh, it's definitely
10.5,
over. But it wouldn't be the craziest thing to see LSU or Ole Miss pull out a win.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
But still have them going 12-0.
I think, if any, I think Tennessee probably has the most realistic chance.
And winning the West and winning the national championship for that matter. Will Anderson is just going to destroy teams.
Yeah, and it's not getting any easier for other teams. I mean, for Alabama, it seems like they're just back every year. And Saban said, it's a rebuilding year?
Last year, rebuilding year. They go to the national championship and lose, and it's a rebuilding year. Absurd. It's
not going to be easy. But next we have Auburn, and they have Auburn bowl eligible at 6.5 over-under.
Wow.
Under.
I think that's a dumpster fire over
Under.
there.
I think it's under.
A sinking ship.
I count maybe 4 wins, 5 wins.
Maybe 4. They
Now,
got it rough.
Now they have their East draw is sort of easy. Well, at Georgia.
Penn State at home.
At Georgia.
Super tough. At Georgia.
Terrible.
Tough.
Missouri at home.
At Ole Miss. No. At Mississippi State is tough. A&M at home, at Alabama,
I mean,
Arkansas at home. I mean, it's brutal. Schedule.
Western Kentucky had a great offense last year. I don't see why Western Kentucky couldn't go in there and blow them out of the water.
I mean, the week before Bama, shoot, it's not crazy to say that.
I mean,
that's how bad though I think Auburn's going to be.
Win-wise, I see a definite 3. I'll give them the Western Kentucky game. I'll give them Mercer. I'll give them San Jose State.
They still have Tank Bigsby?
I mean, yeah, but what?
I like him.
I like the Auburn defense. I think the Auburn defense is fine. I mean,
and he obviously
not a lot. Yeah,
Bo Nix going to Oregon.
He'll be playing Georgia again,
But,
so he's not escaping his nightmare.
They upgrade if not.
Zach Calzada? Yeah, TJ Finley's a TBH right now. We don't really know
after he just got arrested.
Much about him, yeah.
Who knows?
Amazon deal, though.
But, yeah, give me a win. I think they beat – I'm going to give them Western Kentucky, and I'm going to give them SEC-wise, I'm going to give them Missouri. I'm going to give them San Jose State,
I'm not
Mercer.
giving them Missouri.
I think they go 4-8. 4-8 with one SEC win against Missouri. Pretty bad.
I mean, this is going to sound really insane. I see them at either 3-9
Wow.
or 4-8 with a win over Alabama.
In my opinion, there's a huge difference between 3-9 and 4-8. And the fact that you're saying you think you're going to beat Alabama is just absurd. That's absurd.
That's just, that's just
Ryan
Auburn.
Denny.
But I'm going under. Regardless, I'm going under.
I also am going under.
Next team will go down to Starkville, Mississippi State.
Stark Vegas.
They have the same win over under than Auburn. Same, 6.5.
I think they go over. Let's go through the schedule, though.
Over.
Memphis at home. I like their chances.
At Arizona. Arizona's terrible.
At 10 p.m. Arizona's terrible, but
at LSU.
Tough time. Give them against Arizona.
Bowling Green, A&M,
They
Arkansas, at Kentucky, at Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, ETSU, that's a win, and at Ole Miss.
So I'm going to give them Memphis. I'm going to give them Arizona. I'm going to give them Bowling Green. That's 3-1 with a loss to LSU. At LSU, it's in Death Valley. They lose to A&M. So they're 3-2. I think they lose to Arkansas at home, too. I think they lose to Arkansas at home. That puts them at 3-3. And then they've got at Kentucky. They're not winning that. 3-4.
I think they could win at Kentucky.
Then, Alabama.
I think they could win at Kentucky.
They could win that. That'll be 3-5. And then I give them Auburn. I give them. Now that I'm looking at the schedule, I don't know if I can go over. Because I don't think they beat Ole Miss. I don't think they beat Georgia.
I'll give them over.
I don't think they beat.
I'll give them. I think if they go over, it's probably going to be 7 or 8. I mean, I don't like.
I think they win 6 games.
They start off 2-0. I don't like LSU that much. I could give them LSU. I'll give them Bowling Green. I'll give them at Kentucky. I think Kentucky's. I said that earlier. I think they're sort of fraudulent. I'll give them Auburn, of course. I'll give them ETSU.
So what does that put them?
They have a tough East draw though. At Kentucky, that's probably the toughest East draw there is.
Kentucky.
At Kentucky, Georgia at home.
Besides,
no, the toughest West draw. Is probably Tennessee with at LSU and then Alabama.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's brutal. But I'll have them going over. And you say under?
I'll go under. I'm a little biased, but I'll go under.
I mean, look, I see it. I think 7.5, or I think 6.5 is probably low. Probably lower than it should be.
I think it wins.
It shouldn't be It shouldn't be the same as Auburn.
No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't be. But next we have Arkansas, who actually had one of the resurgent years last year. Sam Pittman, KJ Jefferson, both are returning.
On the come up.
And they are at 7.5.
By the way, they have a brutal schedule. If you haven't seen it yet, it's brutal.
I mean, it's just the SEC teams are traveling this year.
Let's go through it. Cincinnati at home, South Carolina at home, Missouri State at home.
I'll give them 3-0.
A&M in Arlington. For some reason, that game's played in Arlington. I'm not really
Which
sure.
is terrible. That's also weird.
Alabama at home, at Mississippi State, at BYU, off week at Auburn, Liberty at home, LSU at home, Ole Miss at home, and then at Missouri.
I'm assuming it's in here somewhere, but they don't have their Little Rock game. But
they're not playing it this year.
Really?
They're not playing it this year.
I'll give them the over.
First time in a long time.
7.5. I'll give them the over.
7.5. Give them the over. I'll give them the over too. I like them week 1 against Cincinnati. I like them week 2 against South Carolina.
I like them starting 3-0. Then I do think that's just a weird stretch.
This is a really, really good Arkansas team.
But that second, that late September to October stretch is just brutal, I think.
They don't lose much. I mean, receiver Treylon Burks, but they got KJ Jefferson back. They got a few running backs back.
I mean,
that O-line.
their East draw is
crazy.
Their East draw is easy. I'll give them at BYU. That's a win.
I like that too. This is one of the scariest teams in college football.
I mean, I think it's easier to count losses, and I count 1, 2,
Yeah, I think they lose to Alabama.
3, 4.
I think they probably lose to Ole Miss. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
They're going over. They're having 2 losses max. Maybe 3 losses.
I think they're not going to beat Alabama. I don't think they're going to beat A&M.
They're a New Year's 16.
I could see them draw. I mean, it depends. If they're playing bad football, at BYU is not the easiest game.
That's never easy. At Auburn.
Auburn's terrible. Auburn's terrible.
Auburn would be terrible.
I mean, LSU at home is.
At Mississippi State's never easy. I mean, that's a tough place to play.
I mean, whoever their home is good too. They end with besides the Missouri Friday night CBS game, they end with 3 straight: Liberty, LSU, Ole Miss.
I mean, they could win all 3.
I'm gonna go over. I think we can both agree on going over.
Oh, for sure over. That team could be scary.
I think it's over by maybe 2 games even. But the next
possible.
team,
Very possible.
hometown team, Ole Miss is at 7.5.
I like the over. We'll go through the schedule.
Yeah, I mean over.
Easiest 6-game stretch to start the season that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In the SEC West,
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. You got Troy at home, Central Arkansas at home, at Georgia Tech, who I'd imagine is not any good.
Georgia Tech. I mean, half of Georgia Tech's team is in the SEC now.
They're pretty mid
Transfer
every
portal.
year. Tulsa at home, Kentucky at home. Kentucky at home's tough. That's tough. That's by far the toughest game.
I don't believe in
the
Kentucky.
stretch.
I mean, Will Levis wasn't good last year.
I had him.
He wasn't good.
I think we win that game anyways.
He wasn't. Will Levis was not a good quarterback last year. I mean, he was good, but
Nothing crazy. Nothing like
he
people
wasn't
are giving him
first
the
round
hype
pick
for.
last year.
I agree. At Vandy, Auburn. I mean, that's 6-0. I see 6-0, 7-0 right there. 7-0.
Yeah,
But
I
then
think
this stretch is where it gets you. You go at LSU, at A&M, 2 very, very tough games. Very, very tough. I don't know if LSU's going to be any good. But if you're going to Death Valley and it's Ole Miss LSU, I mean, storyline adds up pretty good for LSU to go in there and win that game. At Kyle Field, no matter, I don't like A&M. I think they're extremely overrated. But at A&M is always going to be tough. And then you got a bye week. And then, so let's say I'm going to give them one of those 2. I think they lose one. They lose one of the 2. Either at LSU or at A&M. Alabama at home. I said it a second ago. It's a trap game for Alabama. It's not easy, especially because they go to LSU the week before. It's not easy. I can't say they're going to win it, but I can't say that there's no way they win it. So I'm going to give them a loss there. That would put them at Arkansas with probably 2 losses. I'm going to give them Arkansas, and I'm going to give them State in the Egg Bowl. That'll put them at 10-2, which is crazy to say that they're going to go 10-2 without Matt Corral, with a new quarterback. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be yet. Luke Altmaier, Jackson Dart. But I got them going 10-2. That's it. 10-2, right there.
I think that's a little crazy. I mean, I think at best 9-3.
Well, they upgraded every position except for quarterback. Every position's upgraded.
Upgrades. I mean,
Now, did Matt Corral...
theoretical upgrade. We don't know if they're upgrades.
That's true. But if they hit the portal and it works the way that we're hoping it does, they're going to be a very, very tough team to beat. But Matt Corral did win a few games last year single-handedly.
I mean, yeah, after Auburn, it's difficult.
But they're going to start 7-0. I don't see them... I mean, maybe lose to Kentucky, but I doubt it.
I'll count their losses. I have LSU a loss, A&M a loss, Alabama a loss, and Arkansas a loss.
So you think we lose 4 straight?
8-4.
And then we go and beat Mississippi State?
Yeah.
I think if we lose 4 straight, man. I mean, it's possible. I'm giving us 2 of the 4, which I think is crazy to say. I like us at LSU for some reason.
I don't know when the last time Ole Miss has won at LSU.
We always play A&M good, so that's not crazy to say.
Regardless, I think over 7.5 is possible.
Absolutely.
More than possible.
I give them over. Over.
All right, and now on to which I think is probably the second best team in the SEC, A&M, and I think they even have a low win over under 8.5.
8.5. As much as I want to say over, I think they win 8 games. A&M is the same team every single year. We come into the season, we say they're going to be this team that's going to go all the way. Maybe they can beat Alabama. They did beat Alabama. Maybe they can win the West, and maybe they can go all the way, and they never do it. Every single year, they disappoint us. Every single year. This year is no different. No different.
I have A&M 5-0 going into Bryant-Denny Stadium.
5-0 would have them beating Sam Houston at home, Appalachian State at home, Miami at home, Arkansas and Arlington once again.
And
weird.
Mississippi State.
And at Mississippi State. I could see a 5-0. Not crazy.
I have them beating South Carolina.
I think Arkansas beats them.
I have them beating Ole Miss. I have them beating Florida. I have them beating Auburn. I have them beating UMass. I have them beating LSU. I have 11-1.
Whoa.
11-1.
And who's their loss to?
Alabama. And
Alabama. So you think they go 11-1? So what about Alabama? I mean, what if Alabama goes? I mean, what do you think they're going to go undefeated?
Undefeated, yeah.
Wow. So you think that they're the last team? So
11.
I mean, you're 11-1 in the SEC West.
11-1 missing playoff.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask.
Did
they get in?
No.
Did they get in?
No. Not this year. But
I think 11-1 is
regardless
a stretch.
Over.
Big
over
stretch.
8.5.
I don't see it. I think they win 8 games. I'll count the losses right now. Like I said a second ago, I think they lose to Arkansas. At Mississippi State is not crazy easy. At Alabama, that's a loss for sure. There's 2 for sure losses right there. At South Carolina's a trap game. I could see them losing that. That could be 3 right there. So give me that. I'll give it Arkansas, Alabama, and South Carolina. Those are the 3. And they lose the last week against LSU. No matter if LSU's good or bad.
I think Hayes King.
8-4.
Hayes King's a good quarterback. I like him.
Is he,
I think
we haven't seen enough of Hayes King to say he's good. He's average.
I think he's an upgrade from Calzada, in my opinion.
We'll see. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Maybe they will go 11-1, but I just don't see it.
But
I see 1 in 8 games.
So you have under.
I'm going under. Crazy, but I'm going under.
I have over and over by 2.5.
And Alabama
actually
will steamroll them once again.
I agree with that. I mean,
won't be close, especially after last year, revenge, and then of course the Saban Jimbo feud that
exactly
you've seen all offseason. There's the storyline's perfect.
But that brings us to our last team. That's LSU. They have a over under of 7.
New head coach Brian Kelly.
And his family.
Quarterback-wise, Jaden Daniels, maybe?
Maybe. I mean,
who knows? I'm not really sure what's going on over there. People are being real quiet about them, in my opinion, which I understand.
I'll go ahead and say it under.
And what was the over-under again?
7.
7?
They could push. I'm
going to give them over just because it's LSU. And Brian Kelly's a good coach. He will never get them to where they want to be. I mean, he's not going to win national championships over there. But he can get them. He's going to get them 7 wins. Counting losses, Florida State week 1 in New Orleans. That would be a crazy game for LSU.
I mean,
they're going to kill that one.
If it wasn't in New Orleans, New Orleans.
It's basically
LSU, yeah. I mean, if I were to count the losses, I would say LSU. It's so uncertain. I mean, it's just there's a lot of questions.
It's tough.
I would say
them.
Mississippi State is probably what I could see them losing. I could see them losing Mississippi State. I could see them losing Tennessee. Actually, I think I might switch. I'm gonna go over now. I'm looking at the schedule.
Yeah, I'm going over too.
I mean, and if I were to count losses, I would say Alabama, Arkansas, A&M, and Tennessee.
That's pretty nice. And at A&M, I had them winning that game. So
you had them winning at.
I have them winning at A&M.
I had them going 8-4 if I were to go over.
Which is in Kyle Field. And done it before. I think they could.
And when I was thinking about the under, I had them dropping that Florida and Ole Miss game, but I just don't see them. I don't see it.
I don't blame you.
Florida and LSU are, 2 schools that are in similar positions. New coach.
Very similar. And I think they both could. They could be on the come up. They could not.
I think LSU had. I mean, I think Brian Kelly's a better coach than Billy Napier. I don't think anyone's going to find that an outrageous statement.
No, that's not crazy to say. I don't like Brian Kelly and LSU is just not the fit. It's not. It doesn't fit like a glove.
Recruiting wise, it seems to be going well.
I mean, it's going fine. I don't understand how. And when you look at Brian Kelly, you don't see LSU.
No.
I mean, how do you go from Ed Orgeron to what's his name?
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly. I just forgot his name.
You can.
I don't see.
But overall, over.
I'll give him over too.
Over. And this has been Cross the Line, and we'll see y'all next week.